Hey guys, I hope you are doing well. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Shifra. Today, the video I wanted to do is slightly different to the last two videos that I did. I wanted to have a more sit-down educational video. I wanted to talk about something that I'm personally very passionate and very interested in. And I wanted to bring awareness to these issues. So as you can probably see from the title, I'm going to be talking about the fashion industry and its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. A disclaimer that everything in this video is my own research and my own views, so this is not me telling you this is right and this is wrong. I just want to bring awareness, and I will link everything in the description that you can either read, watch, or listen to educate yourself more on the matter. So grab a cup of tea. I'm having a peppermint. Yeah, it's pretty hot, and let's get into it. Many of you may be thinking, why is this even relevant? The fashion industry actually employs 1/6 of the UK population. Yes, that's right, 1/6. I learnt this on an Instagram live between Edward Enninful, who is the editor-in-chief of British Vogue, and Sadiq Khan, who is the Mayor of London. And the fashion industry actually creates 52 billion a year for the UK economy. So as we can see, the fashion industry plays a huge part in the UK economy. The fashion industry has been a creative haven for many people, and it is a trend and culture accelerator. The COVID-19 pandemic has meant that all of our everyday lives have changed dramatically. And in the same way, the fashion industry, as well as many other industries, have come to a halt. The difference with the fashion industry is that brick and mortar, the more traditional stores, have had to close, and we have all moved online. As the lockdown is slowly being lifted, the high street that we are returning to is going to look very different from the high street we left. Many big brands that we all knew and grew up with are not going to be there when we return to the high street. The likes of Oasis, Warehouse, Laura Ashley, Cath Kidston have all gone into administration, whether that be directly because of the COVID pandemic or because of other financial issues. The pandemic has changed many of our perceptions and our buying behavior, and this has meant that many brands and companies have decided to close a lot of their stores. Interdex announced that they were closing 1,200 stores globally. Interdex is the parent company that owns Zara, Massimo Dutti, Bershka, and Stradivarius. So what has the fashion industry done over the pandemic? I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that there have been sales during the entirety of lockdown. I remember when lockdown was first announced, and I received an email from All Saints saying that they had a 50% off sale. I nearly screamed. But they've had 50% off for the entirety of lockdown. So why have they done this? Obviously, because we are only buying online, fashion brands have a huge amount of stock that they need to get rid of in order to replenish for the next season, whether that be the summer season or the autumn season. Whilst a lot of us have seen the sales, have any of you thought beyond the sales? Why are they doing the sales? What's behind the facade? This is something that I have been researching into and trying to find out what the fashion industry has actually been doing during the pandemic. During lockdown, many fashion brands have rushed to help. Annie Hindmarsh, for example, produced 6,000 washable PPE gowns for some hospitals in central London. The likes of LVMH transformed their perfume factories into hand sanitizer factories. But whilst many brands have been trying to help, a lot of brands haven't. Not all brands have had the same outlook and opinion of the pandemic. A humanitarian crisis has arisen in Bangladesh due to the huge amount of fast fashion cancellations. According to Forbes, there have been $2.8 billion in cancellations, which has affected 4.1 million garment workers. If you want to know more about that, you should check out Venetia Falconer. She's posted a lot about it on Instagram, but the likes of Gap, Urban Outfitters, Forever 21 have all abandoned their contract with suppliers and have not paid for clothes that have been made. This demonstrates the imminent need that is needed within the fashion industry. One of my favorite economists is Mariana Mazzucato, demonstrates that governments need innovation and sustainable-led economic growth. But the same can be applied to the fashion industry. Time and time again, the fashion industry has fallen short at the same hurdles, but now I think is the time where imminent change is needed and is possible. The fashion industry has been speaking about diversity, inclusion, sustainability for many years, and whilst many companies have made the necessary changes or have attempted to make the necessary changes, many other major players in the industry haven't. And I think change needs to come from the consumer. And whilst this is not me sitting here saying don't shop from fast fashion retailers, because I do, I'm saying we need to have an awareness of who we're shopping for, what kind of companies we're supporting, and what we want the future of the fashion industry and the economy in general to look like. Whilst this video is mainly about the fashion industry's response to the Covid-19 pandemic, I didn't think it would be right for me not to mention the Black Lives Matter movement and the murder of George Floyd. Many companies have been seen to follow the trend and post about their solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement, but to say one thing and to do another. One of the companies I wanted to talk about was Reformation. Whilst Reformation is a champion of sustainability, they have not been so sustainable and accommodating in their own workplace environment. Many stories have come out in recent weeks about discrimination, microaggressions, and workplace segregation that has occurred. Whilst we want to support sustainable businesses, to be a sustainable business is one thing, but to be sustainable, you also need to pay fair wages, treat all employees equally, not discriminate, and not have these toxic workplace cultures. They're not mutually exclusive. You need to have all of them for companies to be fully sustainable. And whilst it's difficult to find out about these things, when you are supporting businesses, especially coming out of the pandemic, in my opinion, it is so important that we look into these things, and whilst we have all the information on our phones, on our laptops, it's so easy to read about these things that we do, rather than supporting businesses that we personally wouldn't want to work for. If you want to learn more about this, I really recommend following the Diet Prada page on Instagram, because they reshare everything that former employees have posted and what brands have posted side by side, so you can come to your own conclusion. Another point I wanted to talk about was the Vogue challenge. So the Vogue challenge went viral on TikTok and Instagram. The Vogue challenge is trying to show the lack of diversity in not only the Vogue covers, but also in the entire fashion industry. And it's trying to demonstrate what the fashion industry, if it was more representative, how fruitful and beneficial. I have personally loved looking at all these Vogue covers. And Edward Enninful, who I spoke about previously, the editor-in-chief of British Vogue, posted all of his favourite ones, which I think is a really positive move. So whilst the fashion industry has issues with sustainability, it also has issues with racial diversity, representation, and paying their workers the fair amount. First of all, I think education is the most important thing. You have to first educate yourself, so I'm going to put a lot of articles and documentaries and podcasts in the description that if you're interested in this, definitely give them a read. I found them very beneficial in reading and educating myself before making this video. The Fashion Revolution have a hashtag which is Who Made My Clothes? And I think this is a very poignant way to think about things. When you're buying something or ordering something online, think, who made this? Were they paid fairly? And finally, there is a charity called Lost Box, which is supporting families in Bangladesh who have been affected by the cancelled orders. The way it works is you pay, I believe, £35 and you select your size and your style, and they send you a selection of clothes that have been ordered but not actually paid for, and one box will support one family. I will link them in the description as well, so if you want to support them, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have found this interesting, but also educational, and hopefully are slightly more aware of the reality of the fashion industry and the change that is needed within the fashion industry. The fashion industry affects all of us. It is a very prominent sector within the UK economy, and the changes that are necessary must come from us, so hopefully we can work together to help make a change. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video.